Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Travel Plays YouTube channel. Today is Thursday, October 10th. We're going to be looking at some college football. And again, either my Wi-Fi or my streaming platform is not working. I'm going to say this on every video. I'm just going to unplug the router while I go to work tomorrow and then plug it back in when I get back. Hopefully that fixes everything. But for right now, I am still lagging, so you get no face me for back-to-back days. Most of you are probably very happy not to see my face because, boy, it's hard to look at. But here we go. We got Jacksonville State tonight, minus 20.5 going up against Mexico State. 16-6 so far. Been an extremely strange game. Jacksonville State has a safety on New Mexico State. We've seen a player get stretchered off. The backup running back from Mexico State, Watkins. So a lot of strange things have happened in this game. It's been a brutal game to watch. I'm flipping back and forth between the Royals and the Yankees as well. So at least we got some postseason baseball because this game's not been fun. But currently we got a 10-point lead with Jacksonville State, almost halftime. So it's not looking too bad. Player props, Seth McGowan. I don't want to sound cruel, but Watkins did get carted off, and he was out snapping McGowan's at the time. Again, not sounding cruel, but over 54.5 rushing yards. It's kind of a good thing that he's out of the game. I hope he's okay. He's currently sitting at, I believe, 35 rushing yards, so it's not looking bad. Too bad for him. And then Trace Stewart, over 96.5 rushing yards. Started the first quarter, the first drive with 35 rushing yards, and I think he's only got 40-something right now. So he needs to start bringing something off, and I think we'll go to it on the player props. Here's an updated leaderboard for you guys. 0-0 currently today, 56-37 on the year. Let's take a look at the game for Thursday night. We got a good game here. Sun Belt action. James Madison going up against Coastal Carolina. Both these teams start off the year 4-1, but James Madison dropped their last game going up against UL Monroe. They were a 16.5-point favorite. This was a team that had expectations to be undefeated this season. They really had a shot to make the 12-man playoff if they didn't drop any games. But last week, boy, did they screw the pooch. They're not going to make the playoffs anymore. And now they got to go up against a Coastal Carolina team who is very explosive themselves. The only problem for Coastal Carolina is that they're going to have to go up against a pissed-off James Madison team who can hang 50 points on you in one half. I'm going to take the over in this game. 60.5 points as to play. This is really low between these two teams. Unless we see a lot of mistakes out of both these teams, this one should fly over the total. Looking at this Coastal Carolina team, they are no pushover. They're going to give James Madison a lot of problems. They're probably going to score a lot of points. The quarterback, Ethan Vasco, I'm going to talk about him on my player props today, but he's having a great season, averaging 220-plus passing yards per game. He's also a threat to run the ball this season, 220 rushing yards on the ground this year. He has really good targets to throw to. Two wide receivers on the outside for Coastal Carolina this season have been lighting it up. They're getting big workloads. I don't think the offense is going to have any problems going up against just James Madison defense. They're not very good themselves defensively, James Madison, but in terms of defensive stats for James Madison, they're right in the middle of the pack this season. So Coastal Carolina, they should be able to pick them apart for some points. The problem with Coastal Carolina is they've got one of the worst defenses in the country. They're allowing 30 points per game, 400-plus yards per game. James Madison is coming into this game with a dual-threat quarterback, Barnett. He was awful last week. I don't know if he was hurt or not, but he looked horrible. Expect him to have a big bounce-back game today. This team can easily put up 50-plus points on Coastal Carolina. They've got a really good running back as well. They've got some talented wide receivers. They're coming off of that loss. I don't see them showing any remorse to Coastal Carolina if they get up by 20 points. If James Madison is scoring points coming off of that loss and Coastal Carolina looks like they're dead, they've got their heads down, they're not motivated at all, James Madison will not stop scoring. They're going to try to hang 100 points on Coastal Carolina in this game. I don't think that they will. I think it'll be a competitive game for the first half, maybe even the first three quarters. But this Coastal Carolina team, they can score some points on James Madison. James Madison put up 70 on North Carolina, so we know that they can score some points. I'll take the over here, 60.5 points. Don't be surprised if James Madison puts up 50-plus points in this game on CC. So let's go on to the next play. For the player props, we're going to be looking at Ethan Vasco, the quarterback for Coastal Carolina, over his total passing yards going up against James Madison. These weekday plays, man, they're testing me. They're testing us because they refuse to put out player props a day before. It's okay with me because I always take them no matter what. People in the comment section the morning of, they're like, here's the player prop, here's the line. I'm like, yep, that's what I got out too. So I'm not too frustrated about it. NFL always has the numbers out before. MLB always has the numbers out before. Why not college football? It seems like a very simple thing to do, but we're going to take Ethan Vasco here, the quarterback, over total passing yards. I do think it's going to be a really good match for him going up against James Madison through the air this season. James Madison has not been great, 247 passing yards per game. JMU's defense has actually been pretty good at stopping the run. So I don't know if Coastal Carolina is going to have a lot of action on the ground in this game. They should be throwing the ball the majority of the game. Plus, they're going to be down probably the majority of the game as well. And James Madison gets up by 2+ touchdowns early in this game. They can blink. Coastal Carolina can blink, and they can score 40 points in the first half. So again, I think Coastal Carolina is going to want to throw the ball in this game. They're going to want to try to make big plays down the field, keep up with JMU. Last week, 367 yards and 3 touchdowns for Ethan. If he does get in trouble, he can use his feet, and that's going to be good for us as well, because I guarantee you, once he beats James Madison with his feet, they're going to put on spy on him. That's going to open up the middle of the field for Ethan. I think Coastal Carolina will be able to put up some big numbers in this game. So moving the quarterback here over his total passing yards as the plays, averaging around 240 yards per game. So I'm assuming the number is going to be 240 to 260, but it may be a little bit higher because the over 60.5. So I'll play it 260, 270, 280. We'll have to see what it comes out at. 300 would kind of be pushing it, but you never know. I'll let you know in the morning in the comments section. Let's go over the next play. We're going to be looking at JMU. We're going to take the running back, George Pettaway, to go over his total rushing yards against Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, they're the exact opposite of James Madison on the defensive side because the secondary has been decent this season. On paper, they're only giving up 205.5 passing yards per game, but I think teams just don't have to throw the ball against them because they just run all over them. We will not see James Madison go away from the air game. They love to throw the ball down the field, but I think if they get up in this game by a couple scores, 14, maybe even 21 points by the late third quarter, we're going to see George Pettaway run this game out for them. And it's not like they haven't been using him in all these games anyway in the first quarter, but he only had 13 carries last week going up against UL Monroe for 62 yards. He has had 3 games over the last 4 with double-digit carries, and whenever he gets double-digit carries, he goes for over 60+ rushing yards. They didn't use him at all a couple weeks ago going up against Ball State because they put up 63 points, and they really didn't need him. They only ran it 4 times in that game, but they do occasionally use him. We saw that going up against North Carolina. Even though they put up 70 points in that game, throwing the ball a ton, I think the quarterback had 500+ and 6 touchdowns. He did have 87 yards on the ground, so they've still found a way to get George the ball. I do think in this game it's going to be a lot like that North Carolina game. They give him the occasional carry in the first couple quarters, and then whenever they're winning later in the game, he's going to try to run this game out. I'll take a shot here on George Pettaway over the total rushing yards. I'm assuming that this one comes out between 50 and 70 rushing yards as the play there. Let's go take a look at the recap graphic. We're going to be taking the over 60.5 points between JMU and Coastal Carolina. We've got Ethan Vasco over his total passing yards against JMU. There goes Stewart. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. That's what I love to see. Just right at the end of the college, Stewart rips. Let's see how long this was. I think that's going to catch it for us, boys and girls. Had it been 50. 26-6 now. Minute 25 left. Looking much better. Looking much, much better. I think he just hit with that. 51-yard, right? Yeah, I think we're good. All right. Ethan Vasco over the passing. I mean, it was just right up the middle. 21 dive. I mean, nobody touched him. That's crazy. Ethan Vasco over passing yards against JMU. George Pettaway over rushing yards going up against Coastal Carolina. Guys, it's going to do it for the NCAA football plays and props for Thursday, October 10th slate of games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please subscribe below the channel below. You almost missed the extra point. Sorry. Jesus Christ, this game. Subscribe to the channel below. See you guys next video. Thanks for watching.